All the reels to speed. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Alliance Group podcast. And our guest today is Mr. Frederico Martins, a wonderful friend of Alliance Group. Fred is the CEO of Second Chance Financial and Executive Vice President at Five Rings Financial. And what we're going to be talking about today is his role as the CEO and co-founder of Volunteer Emergency Relief, otherwise known as VER. Fred, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to have you. So VER has this fascinating story. We're going on, it's been 6 years. I can't believe that it's been 6 years that you guys have been doing this amazing work through Volunteer Emergency Relief. So in 2017, it's really interesting when we were doing kind of our meeting before the podcast to hear the details of how VER got started. So bring us back to 2017 and Hurricane Irma and how this whole thing kind of got started.
Well, nothing was planned, right? So
right. Tends to be the case during hurricanes and things like that.
Back then, I was in the logistic business for 20 years. So we had a warehouse. We used to do pick, pack, and ship for international companies.
Sure.
And since 2005, South Florida was not hit by a major hurricane.
You were telling me that. That's really hard to believe, especially lately. So there was a period, if you guys didn't hear that right, of 12 years where Florida had not been hit directly.
By a major, yeah.
By a major
Small
hurricane.
ones, Cat 1, right. But nothing like Irma. Irma was a Cat 5.
Right, a huge,
so
huge. Right.
It was huge. It was actually, size-wise, was bigger than the state of Florida.
I remember seeing those pictures very clearly, and it actually took me back to the last time I had seen a hurricane that big, which was when Katrina was bearing down on New Orleans, and it was as large as
humongous.
It's enormous. So it was a very scary time. You are there, and you're thinking there are people who have lived in Florida for the last 12 years.
I start to get phone calls from clients saying, what should I do?
I've never been through a hurricane.
Exactly.
I've been here for 11, 12 years. What do I do?
And then I realized it was thousands and thousands of people that moved to South Florida during that gap of no hurricanes. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a video on Facebook. So I actually did a live on Facebook that went viral. We had over 1.5 million people watched.
Wow.
And the subject was, what should I do before, during, and after the hurricane?
Right.
So I did that video, and Gustavo Couto, which is the other co-founder, me, my wife Camille, Marina Couto, and Gustavo.
We know Gustavo and Marina very well.
Exactly.
They're friends of the podcast. They have actually been guests before.
Big hello to them.
Yes,
my
they're
partners. Awesome. So Gustavo saw the video and said, Freddie, that's a pretty good idea, to educate people. And it had nothing to do with my business, had nothing to do with his financial business. And even my marketing guys like, your people are going to be confused. What are you doing talking about hurricane? I say, I got to do this. This so many people.
Passion project.
It was bigger than myself.
Right.
So he kept doing videos. I kept doing videos. And then he said, Freddie, you have a warehouse logistic company. I know you have truck, vans. Mm-hmm. Say, wow, Gustavo, I'm actually selling the company. So I don't have trucks anymore.
Don't have those trucks anymore. Right.
So I leave my office, and my office is across the street from a U-Haul parking lot. So I see one truck in the parking lot. I went in and I rented. So I called Gustavo and said, hey, I got the truck. I say, really? I say, yeah, I rented. So let's wait for the hurricane to pass, and then we'll see what we can do.
Right.
So we start promoting that, saying, hey, guys, if your house is not affected by the hurricane, we want to meet. And a lot of people asking us, how can I help?
Right.
Say, okay, let's do this.
From this viral video that over 1 million people saw. Right.
Let's meet in front of this local church in Boca Raton. Say, perfect. So what day? Okay, we wait for the curfew to get clear, and then we'll meet there, check your house. If you have electricity, you have everything in place, which is one of the things that we tell everybody that's going to come and work with us. You got to make sure your family's safe. Then you can leave to go help.
Right.
So we meet in front of this church, 1 p.m., me and Gustavo on the truck. I pick him up at his house, and 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and a lot of people showed up. Gustavo was a lot. I was the people. A lot of people. Only the two of us there.
Two of you. Okay. So now you're looking at each other being like,
what are we going to do?
What do we do now?
What we do, two of us. Well, I got some case of water in my house. Well, me too, because we stock up on water. So why don't we just put on the truck? Let's drive around. Let's go south, because Broward didn't get hit that bad. But going towards to the shore and going south towards Fort Lauderdale, got a lot of flooding there. So I said, let's just go and see whoever needs help. Maybe we'll help clean up a tree.
Right.
So we drove.
We have the truck. We have me and you. Let's go help some people.
Yeah,
Come on.
and I'm so excited to do this because I've done that. My first volunteer work was going to the line at the World Trade Center. I was in Manhattan when the World Trade Center came down.
Oh, wow.
And I was, right on the next day by the water there on the river, I was like 3 hours on the line trying to become a volunteer. And they say, now we have enough. Wow. So that was actually the first time that I put myself in to become a volunteer here.
Oh my gosh!
So, and I've been doing this since Hurricane 2004. Say, Gustavo, trust me, there is so much stuff to do out there. Let's just go. But we stopped at a local church, and this place was its official shelter. It's like a bomb shelf generator. So I had 300 people sleeping there. People that didn't have power.
Right.
So went to the church. So we arrived, we asked the pastor, so, hey, pastor, you need any help? Say, come with me. He took us to walk-in, freezer.
Oh, yeah.
And he opened up. It was completely empty. He said, I have enough food for one more meal. And I don't know how long these people is going to be here. So I look at Gustavo. I told you, let's do it. So we start doing live videos. Say, hey, we did donations. We need this. But we say, we cannot wait for the donation to show up. So we went to, we drove like about an hour to find a supermarket that had power and food in there. And then we went there with our own money. We just bought a bunch of meat, rice, beans, and we brought to the church. Next day, donations start to arrive. So people kept watching our video. And then we start to get phone calls from people outside, have line with Tina. From Five Financial, well. Like Mike Wilk, and people like asking, Gustavo, I want to donate money. I had a client in England from my logistic company, John, and he's like, I want to donate money. But I say, Gustavo, I'm not going to have money coming through my account.
Right.
My personal account. I don't want to mess with that.
Right.
And he said, yep, me too. I said, I always had this dream. It comes from my mom. We always talked about, let's have a nonprofit organization one day. Say, maybe this is the time. Are you in? And he said, 100%. So we went to a local CPA, and we told him, we have no money.
We need a business right now.
We need a business right now,
right.
And we need to apply for 501c3. And he told me, Freddie, it takes a year, But because my company, we had a marketing department, and I asked my team, stop what you're doing there for our clients. I need a website, a logo. I need Facebook, Instagram. I need an online presence. So we apply. We got the company open, which is pretty quick, 48 hours. Sure. And then we applied for 501c3. 15 days later, U.S. government gave us the 501 status.
15 days, wow.
15 days, yeah.
That's...
People don't believe, but...
If you know anything about setting up those sorts of entities, it does not take 15 days. It takes closer to a year.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's absolutely incredible. And it was because of the presence that you had built. You looked very official. And plus, this hurricane, you were trying to help with literally a situation that was still unfolding.
Yeah. I think it was so genuine from the beginning.
Right.
Me and Gustavo, we had an agreement since day one that we're not living out of VER. Eventually, we do have a dream to make this into more structurized, because we've been running 5-6 years now with volunteers only.
Yeah.
But we had an agreement. We'll make our money. You're a finance guy. I'm a logistic guy. This is going to be 100%, a nonprofit.
Right.
Maybe some employees, but not us.
Right.
So I think that, it was so genuine from the beginning that that's my belief.
Yeah.
God had that planned.
Yeah.
Everything that we went through the hurricane, we have no explanation. Like, how did we arrive on... I'm not going to mention the name of the singer because for disclosure, he asked us not to, but
sure.
A really famous Puerto Rican singer that owns like a big jet. We're like flying to Puerto Rico with boxes of food, back and forth, you know, Key West. We had like over 5 people that owns airplane calling us saying, I want to help.
Wow.
I mean, me and Gustav is like, how?
Yeah.
We believe it's God.
Yeah.
That's my belief.
Dude, that's amazing. You guys have helped not only Hurricane Irma, but you've helped in Dorian in the Bahamas, correct?
Yeah. We were there 48 hours after rescuing people from small islands, actually taking them on a boat and bringing them to safety, to Marsh Harbor.
That's incredible. So not just with donations, in some cases you've actually helped rescue people from dangerous situations in the wake of these hurricanes.
Yeah, Dorian was probably one of the worst. You know, it was a Cat 5, but it sat on top of Abaco for 48 hours.
Sat and churned, and I remember that
and
went on.
It did not slow down. It sat as a Cat 5 and left as a Cat 5 48 hours later.
Gosh.
So like inside of a blender, washing machine for 48 hours.
That's incredible. It's unbelievable. And, you know, you guys have done help in Haiti, and I believe you already mentioned Puerto Rico, COVID. You guys were
We've
helping
had
people
2,000 people at COVID. Yep, was a big operation too.
You had Hurricane Ian in Fort Myers, which was just this past year, correct?
Yep. Ian was so far our largest, you know, like longer. We were there for 60 days. Mm-hmm. And again, God showed his power. We end up cooking 10,000 meals, hot meals.
Wow.
Yeah, 1,500 food boxes plus reconstruction. I mean, we've done so many things, so much donation that went through our operation there.
Yeah. It's incredible to me because you are obviously a very successful and busy in your job, which is obviously a financial consultant. Gustavo Cotto, same way, very, very busy guy, not a lot of spare time, but you guys have the time to help people. What are some of the challenges that you face as far as, you know, being able to actually step away from your job and to do this passion project and help people? I mean, I guess that's kind of one of the perks of working in your field, right? Is that you have a team that you can trust. You have established a business, and you have afforded yourself this lifestyle where you can step away if you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the agency and the business model that we work help us a lot, you know, because we don't need to report to anyone that we're taking time off.
Right.
But also we need to be responsible that, you know, how much does it cost me personally to be 2 months out of my job?
Right. Yeah.
But that's again where, on my belief, it's God working. 2017 until that day, the month that Gustavo and myself took off was the month that Gustavo has his largest production as a personal agent so far in the industry. Yeah. And I'm in Fort Myers working 2 months. I'm not seeing clients at all. I get a phone call out of nowhere, God, and saying, you got this huge case that you're going to be working on it, that you're going to make enough money. You don't need to worry. I got you covered. Oh. I mean, it's like I go out on the field to work and God takes my place in my company. It does happen. So, but I need to watch, especially, you know, talking about myself. Just to give an example, Fort Myers, I told my wife, we cannot get involved on this. Even though it's a major hurricane, I'll promise you. And I broke my promise. And I told her, but I will go to South Carolina because I live in Charlotte. It's a 3 hours drive.
Sure.
So remember, I told you we don't.
You're going the opposite way of
yeah. So, but remember, I told you we have this thing at VR that nobody leaves their house until you get clear.
Right. You have to make sure that your family and your home is secure first, and then you can help.
It's my home, my neighbor, my city. Because what am I going to do down there if my city needs help, right?
Right.
But if you remember the track of...
It was all over the place. It was going to hit here, and then, no, it's sitting way up here.
And it's coming through Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there like a lion on the cage. Just, Camille is like, she knows me. She watching and say, I promise you, I'm not going to Fort Myers, but I will go to South Carolina. So I'm heading to South Carolina. You know, it's 3 hours drive from Charlotte to where the hurricane landed. flooding, but not much of destruction. So I'm calling local churches. As of today, 6 years later, we have an ecosystem of partners, including churches, even the agencies, FBI and all. So we got calling and people like, we don't need anything, Fort Myers. And I say, I'll make one more call. I'm about 30 minutes from, I'm like close to 95. One more phone call. If this person tell me that they don't need help, I'm going back home.
Right.
So I got on the phone and I called and she said, I don't need any help. And then I was under the sign for 95 South.
Uh-huh.
And I just got on 95. And I was like, oh, what am I? And I kept driving. And the phone rang. Was Claudia Ferhabach. Uh-huh. She said, Freddie, are you guys getting involved? And I say, Claudia, don't ask me. I haven't called Camille yet, but I'm on 95 going south. Mm-hmm. It was stronger than me. Yeah. So she say, I knew it. I just got a call from a local pastor. They desperately need help. I say, put me in touch with him. Mm-hmm. So he called me, and it was like 11 a.m. Mm-hmm. I was going to, the ways, because, you couldn't have the right route going there. So I had to go through back roads when you get to Florida.
Of course, yeah.
Everything was destroyed.
Yep.
And I say, Pastor, my ways is saying I'm going to be by your house by midnight. I say, where are you? I say, I'm in Charlotte, heading down 95. So I'll be there and we'll talk. We'll see what we can do. Mm-hmm. Then I hang up and say, now I got to call Camille.
Camille, you promised that you were not going to go down to Florida.
She was not happy. Uh-huh. But a couple weeks into the operation, she was like,
of course.
Yeah, it was God sending you there. I mean, what we were doing down there was blowing our minds. And, make the story short, we had a camp. We had over 200 volunteers went through. We had a RV. Gustavo called me and said, Freddie, I own an RV. Where are you sleeping? I said, I'm sleeping on the church floor. I said, oh, come on. So I arrived. He sent me the RV. So we get like trucks. I mean, the operation just kept growing. So
yeah, and you were awesome. You slept in that RV for how long?
2 months.
2 months.
And
2 months you're down in Florida.
Never went on a trip on RV. I always had like the idea, but how busy we are.
Yeah.
Like to get on an RV and park. Uh-huh. Man, 2 months. And now I became an expert. And I told Camille, we're going to go on an RV trip now because I know everything, how to do the water, the heating.
That's amazing.
It's pretty fun. And his RV is nice. Thank you, Gustavo.
They did you a solid there. Better than the floor of the church for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So how do you explain this? The way that you've been talking and telling these stories, it's a compulsion almost to help. You actually described it as I was like a lion in a cage pacing back and forth to go help people in a disaster area where there's no running water, there's no electricity. How do you explain what that feeling is and where it comes from?
100% sure it's purpose. Mm-hmm. My nickname was Freddie the Hurricane. Because I'm always so active, I'm talkative,
Sure.
I like to interact with people. So I was little, and an aunt of mine used to call me, here comes Freddie the Hurricane, in Portuguese.
Yeah.
So, and I grew up fascinated about natural disaster, like volcanoes and even flooding and like snow thing. I mean, I hate what the tragedy brings to people, mm-hmm. but I love to see that on nature. Mm-hmm. So I married Camille, and one day we having this major snowstorm in Pennsylvania. We live close to the mountains. Mm-hmm. So I get the news that the river is floating and blocks of ice. And I'm like, I got to go. Where are you going? Say, I know a place that sits over the river. I'm just going to go there. Come with me. So we go there. I park the truck, and I'm watching the river. Just blocks of ice, and she's like, "This guy's not right. This guy's not right. Are we gonna stay here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you want? I'll take you home, and I'll come back." I don't know. I had this passion, right?
Yeah.
So I've been through the World Trade Center. I was there.
Right. Yeah.
I think it was a calling.
Yeah.
Because even the operations that we run when it's over. And I go back and I look at the videos that I recorded, mm-hmm. The pictures and everything that we do. I'm like, oh my God, mm-hmm. who's, it's like take me to a different stage, mind stage.
Yeah.
And I'm laser focused,
You're in your element.
Yeah.
It's like what you were put on earth to do.
And I'm on the flow. The ideas that comes to my business when I'm there, I truly believe you gotta have a sense of urgency on your company to get things done.
Right.
If you're always on a country club mode, So I bring that to the business. And Gustavo was there with me and Marina a couple of days. And I'm just like, guys, we need to do this. And you talk to Gustavo, he say, Freddie, I got majority of my actions after Hurricane 2017. Because I came from the operation. And I say, if I apply this on my business,
right,
it's like you got to think in a million of seconds. Sometimes you don't have time to process. And sometimes what slows us, yes, we need preparation. We need all this. But if you don't put into action, nothing's going to happen. Hurricane, you got to act. You act, then you think.
Right, yeah.
So
that's incredible. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So VER, if there's a disaster, Fred Martins is going to be there. VER is going to be there.
I got a call from a Turkish friend, last night. Are you guys going to get involved on the earthquake, that just hit?
Yep.
And I say, man, I would love to, but it's too far, and we need to know. That's what I need to manage that feeling so I don't get involved on everything. So as of now, we are focusing, if anything hits the U.S., especially Florida, it takes a huge ecosystem of volunteers and churches. Like we did in the Bahamas, we saw how hard it was. It was overseas, different jurisdiction, different country, different laws.
Yep.
Now you're it's on their land, right?
Right.
Working in Fort Myers was so easy because right there we could get in touch with a local sheriff department.
Have a network, right?
Right after we arrived, we found out that the workforce need food because these people are working. So we actually told them we can give you guys 300 meals per day. So they were sending us to restrict areas to deliver food. That it makes it easier, on the U.S. land. So not every, but if it's Florida, for sure, especially now after this hurricane, we got so many people involved. We have a mobile home now, portable, that we can just hook up our truck. It's a little house, so we don't need to sleep on a church floor, especially for the first week after we arrived. Literally, sometimes we need to sleep on, watching the skies.
Yeah.
So now we well prepared. We stocked up for the next season. We always keep money on our bank so we can act. So we'll hopefully we won't be there. So hopefully in 15 more years we don't need to act.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, the organization's growing, VER is growing, and there's two main ways that if anybody's watching this, how can I help? How can I help Freddie, right? And how can I help VER help more people? There are two main ways, right? Well, first of all, of course, donation of money. VER always needs money, correct? And you guys have always taken, and I think today you can take donations via the website.
Yes.
What you're really looking for are monthly contributions.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Because the one way that we raise funds, it's throughout the hurricane, right? And also doing like dinner, or we do like cars for a good cause, that we have the exotic cars. But that's hard because you need to put now events and raise funds, and we want to take VR to the next level. Taking us to the next level will be bringing staff over, okay? So we now have the first guy working with us, has a huge experience, Kleber. He used to be part of Global System Foundation for over 21 as a VP. Oh, wow. And, we sat down. We've been talking for a while. I know him for many years. We've done things together in Haiti. And then we brought him over. But we sat down with Gustavo and I said, hey, his paycheck, we don't have it.
Right.
Would you pay half? I'll pay half from my pocket. And he said, done. So we got an agreement for 1 year, okay? And it was right after he came in, hurricane striked. And, we did what we did because we had him on board.
Wow, yeah.
We built in the village in Brazil. We only built in the village in Brazil because he's there.
Right.
Right? So once we start to have the right pieces inside of the organization, you'll be able to do a lot more.
Right.
But we want to be very transparent with our donors. So we have people like, big shout out, I don't know if you guys going to cut, but hopefully not. Shout out to Lee and Alliance. You guys donated 4 houses.
Of course.
4 houses that we are building.
We were so happy to do it.
Came from you guys, and I really appreciate that. But how do I deliver that house? I'm not going to be able to go to Brazil and be there doing seeing the construction get done.
Right.
So what we're looking now is to be transparent with the donor, saying, listen, we're going to have overhead from now on. We ran without overhead. Our tax report is open. Anyone can call us, and it's going to be there for you to see it.
Sure.
We now need a secretary, and we need a really small office. Okay? So we have
a little bit of overhead now.
Yeah, a little bit of overhead.
Because you are trying to grow. You're trying to help more people.
If let's say we come end of the year, our goal is to raise $10,000 on a monthly basis, okay? And let's say 7,000 is going to overhead. Now also Kleber needs to go to Brazil. How we paying the airplane ticket?
Right.
So now I need to raise funds to pay the ticket. Or I need to call Sam, can you help me with ticket? It's not a good position to be, right?
Right.
But now with the 10,000 coming in, how much can we do with that staff?
Right.
If I have a secretary, like I leave an event and I have 100 business cards, who's calling those people that wants to be part of VR, right?
Yeah.
It's following up.
Staff, right?
Yeah. Like
just like your business, right?
I'll take you for example.
Yeah.
You told me my wife did her master's in Chagas disease.
Yep.
The area that we were working, did I follow up on you on that? No.
You did not.
Yeah.
And I had every intention of wanting to connect you guys, and then we both kind of fell apart. If you've got somebody, staff that's following up on these opportunities, it's more likely to happen.
Yep. But the houses you guys donated, I think Lee got my email 3 months later. I mean, we close. We always in touch throughout the conventions and business.
Sure.
But if it's someone else, it gets cold, I don't get the houses. So that's why we need the staff and we need the monthly. Like I said,
the monthly donations help because it kind of gives you guys room for that overhead. Obviously, when you do these fundraising events, you're able to get the
push,
funds one time, and then the next day it's dry again, right?
Yeah.
So if you can build up these monthly donations, then you're able to make things like staffing
Perfect.
Additions and things
anything
like that.
counts. Like we got people now donating $50. We got people donating $500. $1,000. We had a $1,500. I'll give you the number right now. We just started about 2 months ago, and we had $1,500 in monthly. And our goal is get by December with 10,000.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, so people can reach out, VE Relief.
Relief.
Right? .org.
.org.
Yep. And that's where they can go. You can donate. And hopefully, I think by the time that everyone sees this podcast, there'll actually be an option there where you can set up those monthly donations.
Yes, for sure.
Which would be so huge.
For sure will.
To VER.
Yeah. Well, you heard Alex saying, right? Alex, you promise.
That's very true.
Yeah,
Alex, you're on the hook now.
You're on the hook now.
So besides donations, people can also donate their time, and they can do that also at verelief.org. We're going to put the address here on the screen.
That's one thing people ask. How can I help? Say, listen, if you follow our Instagram and you share our post, 100%. Of our donation and our operation on anything we do, it's on social media through 2 platforms. One is WhatsApp, that we create the groups, and the other one is Instagram, because I'm there doing lives and showing people. The minute that I stop doing the video, the operation dies. When we want to turn on the operation, we turn on the Instagram. So anyone from anywhere in the world, you can be a volunteer. Absolutely. Follow us on our Instagram. Right? You can also put the address.
Absolutely. We can put those on there as well.
Yeah, perfect. And once you see anything there, sometimes we do posts like you can donate here. Sometimes we also take physical stuff, like Fort Myers, for example. We had people donating AC, AC unit, microwaves, and we gave them. We had a warehouse down there, so we gave them the address, ship down here, we'll deliver it. So many ways.
There's a lot of ways for people to help.
Yes.
You can donate money. If you don't have the money to donate, you can donate your time. If you're not close enough and you can't donate your time, you can follow on Instagram and you can share these things out and help VER raise money.
If every time you see a VR post on Instagram, if you do like and you share, you helping us. You have no idea because the algorithm.
Right. Absolutely.
Instagram sees that there is interaction here, so I tell people just like it. I mean, we see so much.
I mean, it's how VR started, right? It was for that viral 100%. Video. That viral video.
Yeah, and it's amazing how bad stuff go viral, and we
we're trying to make good stuff go viral.
Make our video go viral.
Fred, thank you so much for joining us. VER is truly a tremendous organization. Alliance Group is proud to do our part to help you help more people, and hopefully this podcast will help in those efforts as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Listen to this interview and more on the Alliance Group podcast.